All right, family. Black Power. Black Power is the truth hour with General Sarasun Seti. Kick back, get your mind ready for some information that's guaranteed to be heavy. I'm excited and delighted to be accepting members to the Sarasun Seti YouTube page, a dynamic page. Y'all know what it is, Black Power, Black Frequency. If you're feeling that frequency and energy, you should most definitely join. Link right down in the video description. It's in the chat. Click it, you get a video introduction, rundown on the memberships, what they entail. You see one you like, you should most definitely join. Even if you don't, I appreciate your presence here at the Sarasun Seti YouTube page. Continue to engage, continue to advance. That's right, family. Ring the alarm. KingSeti.com, online marketplace, official General Sarasun Seti YouTube. I say YouTube, official General Sarasun Seti DVDs, t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, African and Kemetic jewelry, holistic tonics and remedies, home decor, accessories for every room in the house. I got something for your family. Believe it or not, check the catalog out. Get you something nice, get a discount, shop and save and shop. That's right, family. Pull the fire alarm, generalseti.com, SETI University. We talking about over 1,500 videos of nothing but pure fire and heat. Old SETI, new SETI, all classic. We got every subject that you know and love from the general. We got over 40 different subjects, all powerful. You can come get a full education in African history, family. Ancient and modern. We got the grandmaster teachers, hand-picked documentaries and lectures. Is not another website on the planet that can even compete or compare. Become a member today. I don't know why you haven't already, but if you haven't, get over there today. Check out the catalog and become a member. That's right, family. Everybody knows SETI popping on Patreon. Dropping nuclear bombs on Patreon. We got a fire one going down tonight. How to reconnect to your black divinity. If you've been poisoned by religion, if you've been disconnected from the universe, the creator, then this is a most necessary presentation for you. So you can reconnect today. I'm going to run it down for you, family. Become a patron. You got over 500 exclusive live streams. GeneralSeti.com is the great library of General Seti. And then you got Patreon, which is the lecture hall. You get a chance to see all the videos live when you become a member. And I know you want that. You know, SETI, General Seti is on Rumble, getting ready to rumble on Rumble. The Black Power scholar that won't stumble or fumble. You know that's going to be a hell of a ride, because you know that a lot of Cro-Magnon Neanderthals is over there. So I'm going up in their house, getting ready to rumble. So subscribe to my Rumble page today. To all the family out there, donate to the general. I appreciate you. I appreciate the fact you appreciate me. Any of the family out there would like to donate to this hard-working general, stand on the front line. The link is right there in the video description. It's in the chat. Click it, donate. I thank you ahead of time. Make sure you subscribe to all my YouTube channels. King Seti, General Seti, Sarasun Seti. Rock that notification bell. Get a video a thumbs up. Like it because you love it. Share with your family and friends. And comment. Just don't say nothing stupid, because I will ban your ass. You'll be up out of there. All right, let's get in there. We seeing that. What's up, Ray? I see Ray out there. That's right. We're in the house. We see that there had been an attack on Israel by Iran, and which people was expecting to happen anyway. You see that these are, ancient enemies. They've been, two thieves are fighting over land that don't belong to them. That's really what it boiled down to. And so you got the Israelis who obviously then went over there and took it from them in Palestine. And so, they mad about that. And they've been fighting over this since the Crusades. They've been fighting over this land since the jihads. And so, people's over here crying, free Palestine, but don't talk about how the Palestinians committed the same type of horrific genocide on African people to take the land. And as we'll back that up in what they call the good book, they say they're Christians, they say they're Jews, and so when we go in the book and bring out clear documentation that the land belonged to us, then the motherfuckers don't want to say nothing. They don't want to, they don't know. And so we see many nations that's, against Israel and, such as South Africa, but they don't know their history, because if they did, why would they? And South Africa is in turmoil. Many of the nations that's back in, Iran or, back in Israel, both have stolen the land. When we talk about the ancient civilization of Iran, when we talk about Persepolis, we talk about Elam, Susa, you see, which is clearly from the ancient records, the original inhabitants of both Iran, Iraq, Israel, Turkey, all of that belong to the indigenous African people. But so today, what you're seeing, is a war that's been going on, since, 700, 600 AD, when Muhammad came in there and, he took the land from the Romans, you see, and the Byzantine, which are nothing but the Romans and the Greeks that had stolen our land. And so Muhammad, the Arabs of the Mohammedan faith, went in there and took it, just like they took Egypt. You see, that's when the so-called Palestinians that you see in there today were from that original conquest by Muhammad, later on Saladin, and many of the other Arab caliphs, Umar, Abu Bakr, and the rest of them. So that's when they got in there, but they are not the original inhabitants of the land. You see, and we'll black that up. That's not a problem, okay? And so but let's look at what's going on right now. That Iran, usually they use proxies to attack Israel, such as Hezbollah, Hamas, you see, and the Houthis down in Yemen has also sent drones and missiles that was given to them by Iran. And so, Israel has the Israelis. Let's deal with that. The Israelis have attacked some of Hezbollah's main generals, and I believe that very well might be the reason why they so up in the uproar, talking about Iran, because a lot of their commanding generals have been killed in the last couple of weeks. You see, and so they have fired off missiles. You see, they've sent drones into Israel, and they say 99% of those projectiles were shot down with the help of the United States. They're also saying Saudi Arabia is also backing Israel. And the reason why Saudi Arabia and Iran have been major enemies for the last 100 years, close to 100 years. because you know all of those nations were set up by the British. You see, they were set up by the British. Iran was set up by the British. The Mesopotamian, what they call those? What it was? It was a declaration, Mesopotamian declaration, and they originally wanted to call Iraq, and I believe an extension of that Iran, Mesopotamia. They was trying to rename a lot of those areas over there after biblical lands to to give weight to the Bible. That's really what they was doing, trying to give weight to the Bible. And so they was going to call Iraq, Mesopotamia, Lebanon, which is another made up nation, you see, which was made up by the British and the French. They just renamed those areas over there. Those names wasn't on that land. They went into the Bible and say, we're going to call this Lebanon. We're going to call this Israel. We're going to call this Mesopotamia. But the Iraqis didn't want to take that name of Mesopotamia. So they took the name Iraq. But all of those areas were under British and French control. You see, yeah, they were under French, and I'm glad that brother put down there Bethlehem. Bethlehem. That's right. You speaking to the descendants of Ham when you say Bethlehem, because him is also Ham with an A. You see, and once we understand that those areas were named after the sons of Canaan. And there were also Egyptian tribes that also populated, such as the Philistines. And a lot of people didn't know that. If you didn't know that, Goliath was of the bloodline of the ancient Egyptians. The Philistines came from one of the sons of ancient Egypt in the Bible called Caftor, Captor. Okay, and so the Philistines were also in that land. And as we look into the new kingdom of Egypt, Canaan was an extension of the new kingdom empire under Amos, when Amos, the liberator, ran the foreigners out of the land, his sons, his descendants, Tutmosis. You see Tutmos, Amenhoteps, the Amenhoteps, the Tutmosis, even Hatshepsut. Those were the descendants of Amos. And under that 18th dynasty, which started the new kingdom, Canaan, which is today Israel, was a part of the Nile Valley Empire. That included Ethiopia, that included Egypt. But in the Bible, Canaan was the brother of Egypt and Ethiopia anyway, matter of fact, let's look into that. Let's look into that. That's right. So when we talk about Genesis 10, and we talk about starting at the 6th verse, it says, and the sons of Ham, Cush, here we go, Mizraim, which is Egypt, Foot, which some people say is Libya, some people say is the Horn of Africa, and Canaan, which is modern day Israel. Okay, Israel. Now, so once we understand that Ham means black, it's the same as Kam, Kam, Kim, Kem, such as Kemet. Okay, and so that in Ham, Egypt, in many places in the Bible was referred to as the land of Ham. So when the Nile Valley Africans, the Sudanese, and when we talk about Ethiopia in the Bible, it is referring to Sudan. So you know how black the Sudanese is, and the Egyptians are also dark black. Okay, we got to understand that just like there's color variation in all African nations today, you're gonna see the black, you're gonna see the brown, and you're gonna see the variations of brown. You're gonna see the yellow, you're gonna see the reddish brown, the yellowish brown. You're gonna see all of those variations in the Nile Valley. This is the same population that is in Canaan. Okay, so just be clear about that. And so and it says, in the sons of Cush, which is Sudan, is a Seba, the Sabaeans, Havilah, Sapta, Rama, Sapteka, and the sons of Rama, Sheba, and Dedan. And so Sheba is, included Ethiopia, parts of southern Sudan, and it also included southern Arabia. Okay, not what you see over there today. So the original inhabitants of Arabia, southern and northern Arabia, was the Sudanese, Egypto-Sudanese. Okay, so just be clear about that. So the pale man that you see over there in Arabia today is not the original inhabitant of the land. And so it is with Iraq, so it is with Iran, so it is with the modern day of Turkey. Okay? And so it says, and Cush begot Nimrod, who is the founder of Babylon, which include Iraq, southern Iraq and northern Iraq, southern Iran and northern Iran. Okay? And Cush, Sudan, begot Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord, where it said a giant. He was a giant hunter in the King James Version, and most versions today it says mighty hunter. But in the Septuagint, it says giant hunter. And they didn't want to use giant because that shows that the Egyptians, under the Philistine and other tribes, most of the sons of Egypt in the Bible are giants. You see, but the Twa is also in there. The little short Anu, which later became the Anunnaki. You see what I'm saying? So the Twa and the tall giants of Africa were in Canaan. It was much more the tall Africans in those lands, and the Bible clearly states that these savages, these foreigners, committed genocide on a lot of those tribes. You see what I'm saying? And so Nimrod was also he was a Nephilim. And what that says is that the Nephilim were the direct descendants of God. It says that the Nephilim came from the Watchers, and the Watchers were angels that were placed over the earth to guard the earth and to guide man in a rightful path. But they, in essence, what they did is they came unto the Africans, the women of the Africans, and they created giants. And so we understand that this is all allegory. You know what I'm saying? But in essence, it also speaks that the Egyptians, the Cushites, the Canaanites, and the Puntites were from the direct lineage of God. No other people say, they say, oh, we're the chosen people, but nobody else can say that the blood of God flowed through their veins. And so that's clear in the Bible that Nimrod was of Nephilim. And it says that the Philistines were Nephilim. So we're not just saying that the Philistines were the remnants of the Nephilim, which were the direct descendants of God. Okay? And it says Nimrod, he was a giant hunter before the Lord, wherefore it is said, even Nimrod, the giant hunter before the Lord, and the beginning of his kingdom was Babylon, Babel, Erech, Akkad, Calneh, and in the land of Shinar, which is Sumeria, which later on became Chaldea. And this is where Abraham came from. Abraham was a descendant of Chaldea, which is in the southern regions of Sumeria, which means that if he was an original inhabitant, that he himself was of that bloodline of the Sudanese Egyptian. We know we have to deal with geography. We know that these are all mythological characters, but we have to pull back the veil because this is allegory and parables. And so a lot of parables are mythological tales that veil a truth. Okay, it's not all falsehood. These are allegorical mythological tales that hide the truth. So Abraham, which was the father of all three religions, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, that man, Abraham, and you understand that his name is Abraham. And we're going to see that many African rulers, not only Nimrod, but Cushan Rissatham, who was also, when you see that you know that is either a giant, Cushan Rissatham, that he was a Nephilim, that he was a giant. He was he was the first ruler of Mesopotamia that conquered the Israelites. So that African blood was all up through there in them. So we know who they were. Okay. And so so out of that land went Assyria, Ashur, okay, and Nineveh. Okay. And so now this is where we can prove that the Africans was the original inhabitants, because we're going to deal with the Philistine, and we're going to deal with all the Steens, the Eames, that came up out of Egypt. Now it says, and Mizraim, now you hear that Eam. Now y'all got to understand that Eam is also Him, H-I-M, which is also H-A-M. You see, Mizraim, okay, so let that be known. Begot Ludim, the Eam, a giant. And Lud is considered to be the Etruscans. Those are the first inhabitants or first civilization of Italy before the Romans, the Etruscans. So they said the Ludim are the Etruscans. And historical facts prove that even when Hannibal went to war with the Romans, that the Etruscans were allies with the Carthaginians. Look it up. Look it up. The Etruscans were the allies of the Carthaginians because they were both Africans. Okay, then you got the Anamim. These are the sons of Egypt. The Anamim is where you get the Anunnaki. That's where that come from. Showing you that they didn't come from the sky. They came up out of the Nile Valley. The Anamim were giants, but that also included the Twa, the Anu. So they were giants and they were the little Twa. They were both races. And that's why when you look at the new Marvel comics, the Thor, they show what's his name? The little the dwarf who made all their weapons. He was a dwarf, but he was a giant at the same time. And so when you look at Gilgamesh and all of those faces over there in Mesopotamia, it's the face of Bes. It's the face of Bes, the little Twa. But Gilgamesh was also a giant. So we listen, we got the facts. We blacking this shit up with the facts. Ain't no running from us no more. You got a masterful teacher over here in General SETI. I don't let them get free from the facts. And so Anamim, and then you got Lehabim, Naphtuhim, Naphtuhim, and then you got, when you read the Bible, it clearly states you got the Kasulim, out of which came Philistine. All of these are giants. Philistine is where you get the Philistines. You see, that's where, so they are directly out of the Egyptian Cushite bloodline. And the Philistines were in the land of Canaan when the Israelites came into Canaan. Goliath is one of those giants that come from the Egyptian bloodline. So this is where you get Palestine from. Palestine was supposedly named after the Philistines, and it's clearly stating that the Philistines were from the bloodline of ancient Egypt, the Cushites. Okay, so let's be clear about that. And Canaan, which was the brother of Egypt, the land of Ham, black. Canaan, the brother of Ethiopia, Sudan, son of Ham, Kim, black. Okay? And so it says, in Canaan begot Sidon. Sidon was his firstborn. That's where you get the Phoenicians. And the Phoenicians are the bloodline from which Hannibal and his father, the Carthaginians, were Phoenicians who sailed to northern Africa after the conquest of Canaan by these foreigners that came from the north. Okay, so right there, that's why Hannibal, hear me out, Hannibal is Hannibal, you see, and Baal is Ammon, you see. His name in Phoenicia was Baal Haman, you see. Now Ham and Ammon is the same God. Ham is Ammon, Hamen. And so you will see, and I blacked that up, I went into the references to back that up, that his name is Baal Haman. So Ham is Ammon, okay, black. Now, when you look at Ammon, you have to look at the god Men. God Men is the god of fertility, and he's shown coal black, okay? So let that be known, okay? And Ammon also means hidden, which means that hidden in what? In a veil of blackness. That's what it means, okay? And so Sidon is where you get Zion. They say, and they get to singing them songs. And Mount Zion, that's where Sidon, it comes from Sidon, okay? And also Sidon, one of his sons, one of the cities of Phoenicia was Byblos, okay? And Byblos is where you get Bible. You see, that's where you get Bible. Byblos means papyrus. And so it shows you that the original Bibles were written on papyrus. And the language of the Hebrew, there is no language of Hebrew. In the Bible, it is referred to as the language of Canaan, which is Phoenician. And anybody that knows etymology know that the Phoenicians got their language from the Egyptians. That Phoenician came out of the ancient Egyptian script that they call Demotic. So where you get phonetics, all of this come from the Africans, okay? And Sidon was his firstborn, and Heth. Now Heth is the Hittites. You see, the Hittites would have been in modern day Turkey. And so that's where you get, not only do you get the land of the Hittites, but you get also in Turkey, you get Troy. Now Troy, you go into the Greek mythology, Troy, the fabled city of Troy, was ruled by Ethiopians. Because, how do we know that? Because Memnon was the nephew of the king of Troy, Priam. And during the Trojan War, Memnon came up from Ethiopia to ally with his uncle Priam against the Greeks. That's the facts. And he fought Achilles, and he was Achilles' equal. And he's the only warrior in all of the history of Greek mythology that struck Achilles and made him bleed. So Memnon, injured Achilles, and they fought to, an equal battle, and it was Zeus that gave Achilles the upper hand. But Memnon was the king of Ethiopia. Now, this is also critical as we deal with Iran, that Iran, the capital of ancient Iran, Susa, was said to have been the city of Memnon, the Ethiopian. Look it up. Go to J.A. Rogers, look it up. Go into the Greek, the Roman Greek annals, and they talk about that Memnon, the city of Susa, was the land of Memnon. And even when you deal with the Persians, that the Persians come from Perseus and Andromeda, Andromeda was also an Ethiopian princess. So that right there show you right there that ancient Iran, Iraq, all of that, Turkey, all of what you call the Middle East was originally ruled by Ethiopian people. Okay, we still in Canaan, and we deal with Heth, which is modern day Turkey. And we can go down, all through his songs, but those two, Sidon, Heth, and the Jezebite. And the Jezebite, Jebus, his son Jebus, this is what Jerusalem is named after. Jebus, the African son of Canaan, the grandson. Jebus was the grandson of Ham, black. He was the nephew of Egypt and the nephew of Cush, Sudan. So that show you right there that Jerusalem, Bethlehem, all of that. And it says that the Savior, the Messiah, will be born in the city of Bethlehem. And is this the reason why when Jesus, and we just use it, this is just allegory. This is not justifying Jesus. This is showing you that they didn't place all type of pseudo names over the original inhabitants and rewrote the story. But is this the reason why Jesus was that God commanded Joseph to take Jesus and Mary and flee into Egypt because he was of Cushite blood? Not the Jesus that we know today. I'm not talking about any Jesus. I'm talking about an ancient story that has been rewritten, edited out the original inhabitants, the original names, and placed in there Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and all these different names. You see, they done took ancient scrolls and they have rewritten these scrolls to make it look like, this is their book. But the reality is the stories up under all these stories are African stories. And so Jebus, Jerusalem, is also named after the son of Canaan, the Hamite, the black African who founded the land of Canaan. So when you see Iran and you see Israel that's fighting today, them lands ain't got nothing to do with anything of their origin. They are invaders that came over them goddamn mountains. They came down into the Africa, North Africa, what they call in the Middle East. They came down into India, which was another extension of the great Ethiopian Empire, and all of the rest, including China, Japan. They all came down out of the north and conquered the Ethiopian Kushite lands, and all the Greeks identified all the southern realms, everything in the south of the Ethiopian Empire. You see? And so what's going on today is a thief is fighting with a thief. They're ready to start World War III. over some lands that do not belong to them. And so in essence of what I'm saying is, don't we must watch it for strategy. We must see what's going on, because this is going, if they get into an all-out war, it's going to cause all type of lands to come into this war. And it very well might be the beginning of World War III. We pray to our ancestors that such a turmoil don't happen, so because it's going to cause a lot of destruction and chaos on the planet. But what must be gonna be. You see, we can't stop their hands in what they doing, but understand, looking at it from an ancient perspective, this is the same war that when they came in and took the land from us, the war you see in today is the same war. They're fighting, but the only thing is they're fighting themselves over the stolen land. So I take no side. I have no favor. And when I bring up these, talk about the wars, it's not favoritism in no, shape, form, or fashion. It is only to bring up a global catastrophe that is happening. And we have to make way for all of these wars, because a lot of times we ask ourselves, how did we get in this predicament? Because we're not strategizing. We're not looking at what's going on this planet and making preparations when them same wars might show up to our doors today, just like it showed up to our doors in the ancient times. And if we don't learn from the ancient times of how they took it then we're going to be in a predicament where they're going to take what little shit we got today, they're going to end up taking some of that. So wake up, family. Be aware, be very aware of the globe. Don't be no corner store nigga that your view can't go no further than the corner store or your little block or your little neighborhood. Yes, take care of the block. Yes, take care of the neighborhood. Yes, take care of all of that. But in the end, make sure you have a local view, a city view, a county view, a state view, a nationalistic view, and a global view. All of them must be addressed on this planet as a people that is vying or trying to establish nationality on this planet. This is General Sarah Sunsetti saying, hey, we ain't going nowhere tonight now. I got some more fire for y'all, family. So hit that notification bell. I want y'all to join me because I'm going to teach tonight. You feel what I'm saying? Here's some of them links. I'm putting in hard work for your family, keeping you up to date with this information. Here's some of them links. Support the general. Arm yourself with knowledge. Bang on that wicked ass beast daily. Liberation through African education and confrontation. Black power.